Hi, everybody, and welcome back to track 3. It is the brand and community building track. We have an amazing panel. So we are going to be talking about crowd-powered commerce and the magic of social proof. And we have an amazing lineup here. So I'd love to get started and have you guys introduce yourselves. So Carl, you want to kick us off?
Sure, yeah. Thank you for joining us for the next half hour. I'm Carl. I'm the CEO of a business called StackSocial, and we're a marketplace that primarily sells software and tech products.
I'm Chris. I'm the VP of marketing. I just recently took over creative as well, so no longer just growth marketing, I guess. I work for Batteries Plus. A lot of people have never heard of Batteries Plus. We have about 700 locations across the United States. We're owned by a mix of corporate and franchisees, and we sell batteries. I got asked multiple times over the last couple of days what we did. I'm like, we sell batteries. But also, you know, we can fix your cell phone and get you a new key fob as well, so not just batteries.
I'm Aaron. I'm the CMO of Newton Baby. We're one of the larger sellers of baby sleep products, so crib mattresses, bassinets, pack and plays. There's a baby bust in the country, so everyone go out tonight, get drunk, and make babies. Bonus.
And then my name is Paco Sando. I'm the founder of Mizizi International. We make sportswear celebrating countries and cultures from all across the world. We've had a few partnerships such as Marvel, Disney, Viacom, been profiled by the likes of Vogue, Forbes, GQ, and looking to connect, celebrate, and represent countries from all around the world.
Cool. I'm Madison Lee, CEO at Nemah. We are a personal care, skincare brand for women in all stages of maternity, pregnancy, postpartum, and baby. And yeah, happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you to our audience for being here. And looking forward to diving in. So we'll get started and talk about what crowd-powered commerce means to everyone. So I'm curious, when you hear, you know, crowd-powered commerce, what does that mean and what does that feel like from your business and from your brand?
I'll go.
Carl, you want to
Sure.
kick us off? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we were founded about 13 years ago, and initially the hope was that when we launched StackSocial.com, people would just find us. And we quickly realized that that's not how it worked. And so we started by building social features into the site. So in order to access certain coupons and freebies, you would have to share on Facebook or Twitter, and that would unlock things. And so we built inherently into StackSocial at its roots social sharing, just because we had to figure out how to attract users. And then the other thing that we did is we jumped into an affiliate model. And so different kind of sort of social extension, but we started partnering with media companies that already had audiences, CNET, Yahoo, others, and wrote editorial for them that ultimately drove back to our site. And so we were relying on the audiences of our media partners and the sort of social sharing elements that we built into the site.
Smart, yeah. Tapping into high-intent audiences that already exist with partners.
Right.
Yeah, excellent. Chris, what does crowd-powered commerce mean to you, and what does it mean to Batteries Plus?
So obviously we have a store footprint, so it's really important for us that we're getting lots of reviews from those local experiences. And that could come, you know, from a Google, that's where a lot of reviews come from, but it can come from many places as well, from Facebook, from an Instagram. We rely a lot on NPS, which is maybe not as much of a social score, but is really important when you have a business like ours. That Net Promoter Score is big for us. So we're very, very aware of what those reviews are, that we need to be responding to them constantly, that we need to be responding to them consistently. So we put a lot of emphasis on that from a corporate and an owner perspective too.
Sure.
It comes from both places.
Yeah, that NPS is like your trust score,
Yes.
Ultimately, and the consumer feedback is so important. Aaron, how about you? What does crowd-powered commerce mean to you?
Yeah, so we have a very specific persona, which is a pregnant woman. And the first thing she does when she finds out she's pregnant, she goes to Pinterest, starts designing the nursery. Second thing is starts putting together her baby registry. And to do that, she goes to her friends and says, hey, other moms, what products do I absolutely have to get? And so making sure that we're included in that conversation, making sure we have happy customers to whom we've delivered on our promise of peace of mind, is the whole game. 60% of our how did you hear post-purchase survey is from friend or family. So it's super important to make sure that we're keeping the crowd happy.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that Pinterest is a strong channel for you. We'll get into that in a little bit. So Paco, how about you? What does crowd power commerce mean? I think for you, it's like community powered commerce.
Yes, 100%. So because our product is so specific and that we're targeting niche countries and communities, we have recognized that our customer likes to, whether it's taking photo shoots of their product or in their jerseys, whether it's at festivals, events, or just community-oriented events. And how can we continue facilitating conversations between these different customers because they're from different countries in order to form that community? Mizizi has been built off the backbone of social media and us going viral from the get-go. And a lot of some of our the top-selling products have been driven by social media, and for our customers being on socials and asking like, hey, I just did this cool photo shoot. We'd love to get a jersey for this country now. Or someone posting from XYZ country and someone else sees it and they're like, oh, I love what you're doing. How can we be a part of that community or join it as well? So crowd-powered commerce is very aligned with community and figuring out how can we further strengthen the bonds between our customers to build a community between people of different backgrounds.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job bringing cultural connection at the heart of your brand.
Thank you.
Yeah. Madison, so crowd-powered commerce, when you think about that, what does that mean to you and what does that mean to your brand?
Yeah, I think similar to Aaron, the pregnancy and postpartum space is such a drastic shift in consumer buying habits, and a lot of it is just peace of mind. What does this next chapter look like for me? So, brand messaging can be trust us, but crowd-powered commerce is have other people trusted you and did it work for them? So we tried to kind of design our brand, early on with, all right, what is the community going to say and how are we then going to put that on our website and every point in the customer journey to make sure that there's not really that friction on, did someone in the same season as I'm in have a good experience with this brand? So we try and have it show up everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Trust is so important with your brand, with any brand. But with Nemah operating in like a very high trust environment, like around pregnancy and early parenthood, have you seen the social proof really changing, the way that consumers connect with your media and, how does that social proof change the buying behavior compared to like traditional brand messaging?
Totally. So the brand messaging, again, it's trust us, and then the social proof is does someone in that season, have they experienced this in a great way? And we feel really lucky. We're serving women in arguably the most transformational, emotionally and physically season of their life, and so being able to tap into that and making sure we built the brand so it's something that women want to share. Arguably, historically, the maternity space was kind of dominated by incumbents and great products, but not necessarily things that people were very compelled to share or proud of. And so we wanted to build something inside the bottle, but then packaging that is something that they could share and they wanted to. And then once we got a lot of that UGC, to make sure reviews and UGC are any corner of this buying journey so that they can't miss it, right? Because it is we're in the peace of mind business, and they're turning to the community and to other women going through this and just asking like, did they solve that problem that I'm having now? So it's super, super important.
Yeah, yeah. Trust is super important. UGC. And when you think about UGC and just customer reviews, do you have examples of where they've outperformed, some of your polished ads or anything that was?
Yeah, early on we did a lot more of the brand perfect ads, and then we kind of put that up against UGC. Real women, mostly in their bathroom, telling the story about this is how this product has affected me, and it definitely outperformed for the most part. So we saw that pretty early on, and we used a affiliate ambassador tool, Super Affiliate, nearly since day one to kind of capture that. And then, all right, how are we plugging that content into paid search, paid social, all over our website? There's platform we use called LiveCom that helps us put kind of widgets all over the site. But really anywhere that we can then use that social proof in that journey, we do. And so it's been really effective with us. It's different now as we're getting into trying to scale paid media that we're leaning a little bit past the customer ambassador standpoint and trying to get a little bit more into the influencer marketing side. So we're leaning into ShopMy as our kind of platform to do that. So it's a little bit more tailored, but yeah, all the different channels have been really effective for us.
Yeah, absolutely. UGC, and you're an expectant mother. There are challenges. So hearing it from another expectant mother, you're like, oh, I'm not alone. So let's talk about trust and building that trust from all of your positions. Where are you seeing those trust signals at StackCommerce? Because you guys sit like at the intersection of content and commerce. So trust plays a pivotal role on both sides, the publisher side and the advertiser side. So can you share some of those trust signals and how you measure them?
I think one of the ways we think about it is like social feeds are kind of discovery, and the content layer is where you really build the trust, and then you move them into the conversion. So on our sites, we obviously have user ratings. We surface those. We address low ratings and either work with the vendors of the products who are giving us those products that are getting the low ratings and giving them feedback. But there's a star rating under every product and every page that we use to inform how our community is responding to it. We also run paid media through third-party publishers. Oftentimes they'll give us access to their social handles, and we are relying on the credibility that they've built with their audience, and they're entrusting us to run paid campaigns through their social handles as well. So we're monitoring those comments as well and making sure those customers are having a good experience, and that our third-party partners are also having a good experience. And then a few years ago, we actually bought an influencer network because we saw the opportunity there to take the products that we have and then find influencers who are relevant to them and rely on them and the trust they've built with their audiences as well.
Yeah, and you guys are also doing product discovery as well, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So our essence has been telling the story of products through content, whether it's influencer content or written content or third-party content. And oftentimes the way that our customers, because by a show of hands, just out of curiosity, how many people have heard of StackSocial? Okay, all right, more than I expected. So for many years, we were sort of a behind-the-scenes powered by brand, and so we would power white label shopping experiences for all these media partners. And just most recently, our head of CRM's there in the third row, we've been really leaning into like building that direct relationship with our customer, which is leaning into that social proof, building loyalty, figuring out how to put our brand in the driver's seat versus relying on our third-party partners. So that's been a big learning curve for us, just figuring out how to essentially shift from being a commerce platform into a consumer-facing brand. We've always had StackSocial, but now we're really investing in the brand and trying to build a deeper relationship with the customer.
Yeah, and it sounds like that pivot and that move is proving to be successful.
So far, so good.
It's exciting, yeah. So let's talk about trust in a category that's commoditized, is Battery Plus. So how do you use social proof, UGC? Also, you have in-store strategy as well. So talk a little bit about that in-store approach and how you're building trust both online and offline.
So we kind of, to take a step back, so we actually went through a brand repositioning. It's all kind of tied together. We went through a brand positioning last year where we kind of hit on this truth that what makes us stand out is that in-store experience. So we, of course, we sell a lot of product and we offer these services, but that's not what differentiates us. What differentiates us is the in-store experience. Like it's different from what you get when you go to Walmart, for example, to get a car battery, or to maybe you break iFix to get your device repaired. Like we pride ourselves on the experience you get in the store. And we took that insight away and we launched a campaign last year, which we call the Experts in Charge. And it's all about the experience you get in the store from those associates and from those franchisees. And we highlight that now in all of our assets. So our TV, our social, and we as marketers, we want to make sure that that's like coming across in our ads, but also in that in-store experience. So now when we go to a franchisee or a manager, we talk a lot about what it means to be an expert in charge. And, that's all about it's all about the customer, and it's about offering them like this wonderful experience where you're asking them the right questions and you're giving them the right solution and you have the inventory that they need. And we want them to understand that like they're this really important part of the brand experience, because obviously we can't control the in-store brand experience. And we want to make sure that that brand experience is great, because that comes through in the Google review, which we at corporate are monitoring those reviews, and we actually do all the responding to them, which is, you leveraging, thank goodness, AI to be able to respond, because there are tens of thousands of them that we're having to ingest, respond to, et cetera, with a very small team.
What software do you use?
We use Soshi right now to do all of that.
We use Gladly.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're here, I think.
Just curious.
So how do you think about brand cohesion, with all of those franchise owners and those different locations? Your Minnesota location is going to look different than your Jersey location.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of where that comes into play. It's like we want to make sure that they know kind of what that expectation is, because we don't have that control. So we do set those brand standards. For what that store experience looks like, for what the expectation is when someone walks through a store. And then we are also ingesting the feedback in the form of a review. That's the only way we can really see what's happening in a store, is the review coming through. And so at corporate, we're monitoring reviews at a macro level. It would be very difficult to take every single review and then feed that back to the stores. But we're monitoring at a macro level so we can see, are there large-scale things happening? Like, for example, January, we don't really have a holiday period. It's not like Black Friday is huge for us, but weather is big for us. So when it's cold, not everyone might know that, but your battery dies in the cold.
Yeah.
So that's our big season. So when it's cold, we'll monitor things like, do we see a decline in some of our service-oriented things like device repair? Because when everyone's needs a car battery and those car batteries need to be installed, those associates might not have the time they need to then do some of those secondary services. So we're going to monitor those things through reviews and then flag if we see, hey, we're seeing a lot of complaints about, for example, like, I couldn't get my phone repaired because of the busy season.
Yeah.
And then at a store level, of course, owners are monitoring those things at more of the micro level. And we have a whole store team that also helps them, gives them feedback if they're seeing a decline at a store specific level, so they can kind of help push them if they need a little bit of a push.
Then you can kind of, catch those themes that are connected with a challenge and then push it back to the store.
And we also push it back to like training as well. So we have a training team, and so if we're seeing like consistent themes come through that, hey, we can kind of raise our hand and say, we might need to go out with a training on this specific topic, because we're consistently seeing that there's, feedback on like maybe a decline in the service side of things, like in those device repairs, we might need to do a refresher on those trainings.
Always just kind of repositioning and reconnecting that feedback loop. That's smart. And that makes me think about Newton Baby and their trial. You guys have this like 100-day trial, which is like a huge confidence move. So like thinking about that, like you don't see that in baby products typically. So what have you learned about that trial? How does it affect customer loyalty? Do you have a feedback loop within that trial period? What does that look like? The customer interaction between brand and customer, and tell us about that 100-day trial. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting vestige of the early days. The company was founded about 11 years ago now, when things were still sold in stores, and specifically baby stores, Buy Baby, Babies R Us. There were baby stores. There aren't around anymore. But to make sure that we overcame this notion of buying a mattress in a store, touching, feeling, just like the bed and box guys, Casper and all them had to do, we felt it was important to just make it risk-free. So here, try it for 100 days. The other issue is that our product when we launched was so much more expensive than the competition. And so we really needed to justify that and just really remove any possible barrier to spending so much more than the average, $50 Graco mattress. And so we're like, look, try it out, get it in the mail, put your face up to it, breathe through it, and really see for yourself that it's worth it. If not, just send it back. We'll pay shipping both ways, no problem, no risk to you at all. And of course, what we found is that once you overcome the initial barriers and why am I spending so much on a crib mattress and everything else, return rates are insanely low, mostly because babies don't whine about how hard their mattress is.
It's better to have a hard mattress.
You wouldn't know if they did.
You don't want their faces squishing
Yes.
into the mattress.
I mean, we do get returns like my baby's crying all night, and clearly the mattress fault.
It's a baby.
It's our fault. It's our fault. But yeah, so return rates are insanely low. So it really became, it was terrifying, I think, at first when they first rolled it out. But once they started seeing how low the return rates are and that, we're selling peace of mind and it grants parents peace of mind, it really paid off in the long run, especially overcoming those initial barriers.
Yeah, awesome. And, well-rested baby is a happy baby and makes for a happy household. So, like Aaron said, go forth and reproduce tonight.
Please.
Be merry, make babies. That's the takeaway from this. But thinking about your brand, does such a good job on site about just making the experience feel so authentic and so connected. So, like, how much of this success comes from building the emotional trust around sleep? Like you said, babies cry, that's part of it. Maybe your baby has colic. It has nothing to do with the mattress. So how do you build trust around sleep, comfort, safety? I know you have like experts on your team and a good.
It's a tricky thing because we're a really science-forward brand, and we do a lot of scientific testing of all of our products for breathability tests, suffocation risk. Do babies actually sleep long? We do sleep study tests with like monitor companies, but we need to balance that with the human side. And that comes through via social proof. And so we really start off at the very top of the funnel with generally macro influencers. Chances are, if you're following someone, you trust them, you want to hear what they have to say. When they get pregnant and say, oh my God, I love this mattress, it gives me so much peace of mind, it's the beginning of that kind of social proof trust signal. And then we carry it through. We do a lot of webinars with doctors and other sleep coaches to help build that trust and then it ends up we have a Facebook moms group that's 75,000 people strong now, where moms and future moms can ask each other questions. We don't moderate it much at all. In the early days we did. At this point it's self-sustaining, and it's like, hey, here's a safe place, ask each other whatever you want, no negativity at all. And so we really just kind of foster the community, which I think then inspires the trust as well.
Is it branded as Newton?
Yeah, it's Newton Baby Talk is the name of it.
Yeah, and those micro communities are really just where the engagement and the authenticity is happening. So I'm curious from Madison, at Nemah, do you guys have these like affinity groups, these like micro communities that you're leaning into? Because also, expectant mother to taking care of your skin is so important. So I imagine, they're chatting up a storm to each other. And are you guys moderating those chatting up a storms that are happening?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't found the best platform for us. Right now we've got a couple. Honestly, we just went to like a big DM, Instagram DM group. Because it was like, all right, that's where they are. Let's just kind of meet them there. Because we thought about the broadcast channel. Slack didn't really fit. Slack or Discord felt a little bit removed. Facebook was kind of one of the obvious ones, but we just hadn't gotten there yet. So we did land on kind of Instagram DMs, but a lot of that was kind of from our customer ambassadors and kind of those VIP ambassadors that are kind of more plugged into their communities. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about Mizizi. So Paco, I'd love to hear from you. You built such an amazing community, culture, brand, just very, very connected. So tell us about your journey building such a movement of a brand and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I started the company about 10 years ago while I was in college, and I recognized that there was just a hole in the market for jerseys representing countries in like a modern way. I think that when it came to just African fashion, there was always traditional wear or dashikis or whatever the case may be, but there was nothing that said, I'm in today's day and age, or I can fit in today's society. So I was like, all right, how can we find a product that is kind of the best of both worlds, right? Like you can wear it to whatever event, something that's versatile, but it still shows where you're from, teaches people about your background without even having to say much. And I think with Mizizi, we really tried to do the utmost with over communicating. Like, how do we talk to our consumer? How do we go to these festivals, events? How do we get into WhatsApp group chats to where we're actually finding out, like, okay, what are the small nuances? What are the words that they're saying? What are the jokes that they're saying that we can include in our marketing so that whenever we are communicating with them, that we don't sound tone deaf and recognize that, like, oh, these guys truly appreciate our cultures. They understand us. They know how to talk the talk and walk the walk. And yeah, so over the course of 10 years, I feel like it's just compounded, having shown up so many times in so many different ways, making sure that that we are just staying with the customer across the entire funnel and the customer journey experience, to where there's no questions about where our product is, there's no questions about the quality of it, because we're over communicating, making sure that we're staying in touch with them about any questions that they have and answering anything that, being proactive about answering any questions that may come up in the future. Yeah.
That makes sense. And Mizizi literally means roots, right?
Correct.
Yeah. My last name's Roots, so big fan of that. When you think about kind of representation, community, connection, when someone experiences Mizizi for the first time and they're like, very top of funnel and they're just like, they're at that awareness stage, how do you make your brand feel like a community when they're just getting to know your brand?
I think the coolest thing that I've seen is that people are able to recognize others that have jerseys as well. So say you're wearing a jersey at church and you may not have, or someone else may not have the jersey on, but if they recognize the brand, they'll come up to you and be like, hey, I know I have my own jersey. I have the Jamaica jersey, or whatever the case may be. And I've just heard so many stories about that, where people are just out in the wild somewhere. And we call it Mizizi Spotted now, to where we have our customer base, if they see a jersey in the wild, they'll take a picture and send it to our Instagram or Twitter, whatever the case may be. And then we post it and reshare it so that the world can see, like, hey, there's people out there with the jerseys. If you wear yours, who knows who may spot you, and share that you're outside. So that's been really dope. It's been really cool to see how those customer bonds have been able to be facilitated without us even being present, and showing there's like, okay, we've created a product that builds emotional connection between others. How can we ensure that we're doubling down and making sure that these are genuine connections between different communities that have different backgrounds?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mizizi spotted in the wild.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Cool. So we have about 2.5 minutes left. So I'd love to open up to the audience and see if we have any questions. Do we have any questions for our panelists today? Is everyone awake out there? No
okay.
questions.
Don't bite. Don't worry.
I'm surprised. Well, we'll just keep on rocking and rolling. I am curious about. Oh, we do have a question right there in the back. Yeah. Pressure makes diamonds.
Hi. I want to ask Pacao, is that how you say your name? So sorry.
Taco like taco.
I missed the beginning. I want to ask you, when you talk about live events and how you're engaging people at events, do you do promotions or have QR codes or do like any kind of instant win giveaways? Like what is your connection to getting people's data?
So in the past, we've done things where sign up or provide your email and you'll get entered into a raffle, or we'll try to do activations like face paint or whatever the case may be to kind of get people into the ecosystem. You may not necessarily buy a product now, but at least we're catching your email or phone address so that in the future, you'll be a part of our funnel, right? Anytime we do have a promotion or sale, or if we're saying just Happy Independence Day, we're able to contact you directly. I think we've recognized early on the importance of having a direct connection with our customers outside of social media is really important, because when you don't have that social media momentum, or if things just slow down on socials, how are you still able to communicate and let customers know that, like, hey, we are creating new product, or how do we get people involved with the co-creation as well, asking them for ideas or suggestions. So anytime we're at live events, I think the biggest thing is leaning on, so our brand ethos is like connection, celebration, representation. How are we showing up in those three ways whenever we are face to face with these customers, and recognizing that we're getting the data, and regardless of if we're in the face or not, they're still feeling that same ethos across their entire journey with Mizizi.
Excellent. Awesome. Do we have any other questions from the audience? We have a question up here.
I know a few of you have mentioned that you utilize your customers to share their stories, and I know a lot of you that had mentioned that you utilize your customers to tell their stories, generate sales, and you had mentioned affiliates. Have you found any best practices to educate a common person on how affiliate sales work, commissions work? I think we constantly run into these really enthusiastic customers that we'd love to leverage, and they're very unfamiliar with it. And no matter how much we simplify it, they really struggle to understand how to utilize the platforms.
For us, we have been on Super Affiliate, was kind of our customer ambassador affiliate program for a while. And so I think a lot of it has to do with like the back end and how easy it is for them to log in and get their code. And then they have a pretty robust feature set on like actually contacting them, automated DMs. I mean, certainly make your kind of brand guide one sheet on do's and don'ts. We haven't found that no matter what, the customers are not going to be the best for kind of the paid media side. It works, but it's not doing it at scale. So I think if you're trying to lean more towards that, that's when you get into the influencer side and more pure content creators. But a lot of it for us has to do with kind of that, the platform and how they're logging in, and then who's kind of manning the keys right there. We've shied away more from like contacting via email just because it's not really where they're showing up. So a lot of it's in DMs, and just making sure you've got somebody that knows generally how to kind of be empathetic with what they're going through and run that kind of program. And then have kind of that general home base on like, here's where you can kind of get updates, learn how to use the platform. Yeah. I don't know, does anybody else use different?
We use Extol. They're literally right outside the door.
There you go. Yeah.
We use Impact.
Yeah, Impact is good.
Yeah.
For refer a friend also?
No.
For like the
Charlotte?
Yeah.
I don't know if we do a refer a friend.
Yeah.
Your refer a friend is good. We have a strategic partnership with Flex Offers. They have a direct network, and that gives our agency access to 80,000 publishers. And you know, on the media matchmaking side, it just makes it easy to know where to hang our hats for placements and things for our clients. So would recommend Flex. But yeah, you know, and thinking about how the signals translate cross-network too. So running dual network strategies, or even dual ad network strategies too. Just understanding how each signal impacts each channel. To ultimately accelerate, you know, whatever the brand messaging is, whatever the product launch is. And to your point about commissions, it all comes back to, you know, cost of goods, making sure you have good margin and enough room to, you know, give that that spiff back to whoever's helping to promote the brand. So, any other questions? I think we're at time. Well, thank you all so much for coming today. Thank you all so much for joining us on this panel. I learned so much from all of you, so thank you for being here.
Thanks, Jen.
And thank you guys. Let's give these guys a big round of applause.
Thank you all for the song.
Thank you.